Hello there, superb internet and you amazing creatures at the beyond. Maybe now you can see a small difference in my setup of Inkscape, and it looks a bit different because I upgraded to version 1.3. I did wait a while to fix some of the issues. I'm still waiting for version 1.3.1 because that's gonna improve the software even more. But um, I wanted to show you something cool. Before I start, so I have created a separate path, separate floating port or whatever this is for the alignment and the path effects because for some reason when they're docked over here, it pushes this way too much. So I have disabled the rulers because I don't like this color here. It's very distracting. I understand its logic, but since I do not work with pages and I like my environment to be entirely blank, I removed it. And on that matter, I also removed the rulers. I don't know, they somehow made it look bulkier. So I have more real estate without it, which is really, really cool. Um, Next, I wanted to talk to you guys about cool workflows of how you can set up your work environment to look very, very easy to grasp. So, for example, if you're gonna go into preferences, you can set up your keyboards here. And I highly suggest you modify whatever you feel like it's gonna be easier for you. And for example, there is this new thing called fracture and flatten. So I have swapped the key shortcuts from flatten with difference because difference they kind of do the same thing. The only difference is that it keeps the shapes. So for example, if I have two shapes and I am going to flatten them, so path flatten, it's going to remove it. But if we would do the same, yeah, right now we're back to square one. If I'm gonna select these two and I'm gonna go to um, not yeah difference, it's gonna remove this one. So I'll have to duplicate it and then remove it. But with flatten, it just skips a step. So I have done that. And that's just for convenience sake, because if you have this, then you have the sculptor. And for example, if you want to only keep this and as an intersection or something, bam, enter, and we've got it. This tool is super amazing. Highly recommend you upgrade for this tool alone. And there are many, many, many other things that have been improved and I really love. But today we're gonna play a bit with patterns. And before we start that, let me show you how you can set up this. And every time you start up, it starts up exactly the same. So you're not losing the settings. So in order to do this, I mean the position of your elements and so on. I also have the layers, which I coupled with the export here because I thought it would make more sense and it's easier for me to see. And it's if you're a designer, I highly encourage you to get a second monitor. You can even move this to the second monitor, but I'm keeping it here so I can show you guys easier when I'm doing edits. And that's that's more important for me to present how I do every modification on screen. But otherwise, I would just move it outside and leave all the space wide so I can work easier. So if you want to keep this exactly in this format, all you have to do is go to File, Save Template, give it a name, set it as the default one, and bam. And if you already have one, you just name it the same and it will replace it. And if you want to access, and this is interesting, I love this approach because in all the other softwares that you start, like Photoshop and whatever, they always start with these things like select your format. I hate this. I want to have like a basic format that I always start. This is why I like to start with the new all the time and not selecting any of this. But saying that, actually, this one is quite well made, in my opinion, because it does so many things right. And you have like social and screen, which you can find on any other software. But unlike any others, there is shape builder, which is really, really amazing. So if you're trying to do something out of the box, and well, these are just examples. Of course, you can create your own and save them here. But I highly, highly recommend that you play with this. And for the others, these are for icons. And for patterns, we're not gonna use this, but I'm gonna show you in a moment what it implies. And then you have this custom one, and this is our main, where we always start with this one. And if you want to, oh, you cannot. Unfortunately, you cannot set which one to be the default one. So you'll have to kind of wiggle your way through. Unfortunately, Inkscape has a lot of good stuff into it, but some of them are really hidden. Like for example, the new feature that they added with the blur. Now you have these handles here and you can select which way you want to go your blur. If you want it more on the side or like this. And this was already a feature through the extensions, but it was a pain to set up. Now it looks much better, in my opinion, and you can do far more interesting things with it. But let's jump into patterns. So to do a pattern, first of all, we're gonna go here, and wherever you have Inkscape installed, just go into Shapes, Inkscape, and Paint. And here you'll find these things. And they're basically, well, they're kind of annoying the way they're set up, and you will have to go a little bit through the README. But let's say we're gonna go through the new template and we're gonna open the other seamless pattern, and we're gonna get this. And they're giving you some instructions on how to do this. But to be honest, it's a bit confusing and also a bit annoying. Anyway, so if I'm gonna, oh, of course, why not? Go crash yourself. So if I'm gonna open this one that I made as a custom spooky, you don't have to open it from there. But right now I have spooky set up over here. Okay. So what is this? Basically, it's just a shape, but it's important that you do it at this dimension in order to show up. For some reason, it does not show up here, the pattern. But if I go here into document resources and go to patterns, it does show up here. And this is very important. This thing is very important when making the patterns. Because right now, if I'm gonna select this, it's gonna add it here. And for now, if I'm gonna be selecting my previous pattern, it's gonna disappear from here. It's a bit annoying how to set up this, because if you have too many patterns showing up in here, you'll have to use this icon to remove them and only keep one of them. If you want to make more patterns, let's say we make another one. Okay, let's make a square. Uh, is it making a square? Okay. So we're making a square. And also very important, if you want to change the color, you will have to make it black or something with black and gray. And for example, this one, if I'm gonna use the fill, sorry, I'm gonna use the fill, and we're going to all patterns here, yeah? And if I'm gonna go to this one, which is camouflage, you see I cannot change the color. If I'm gonna go to this one, I can change the color to whatever I wish. But if I'm gonna go to this one, to the original one that I made, I can't change the color? What the hell? Could change the color earlier. Weird. I don't know. Sometimes it's just weird. Okay, so let's make a new one. We're gonna remove everything. Let's make it grayish. I like that they added this new thing. It's like 50% gray, white, and black. This one was really needed. So let's make a shape. I don't know. I'm gonna make a simple shape like so. And so. Let's say it's a fish, okay? And I'm gonna combine it. So it's a pattern. Yeah. So it's no longer an object. And we're gonna make it black. Now, the thing with this, if you want it to be duplicated very easily and to match the beginning and the end, like here, this part is cut out of this part. So in order to make this very easily, we're gonna duplicate it, move it down here. I'm gonna select them and combine them. It's very important you combine them. And then I'm just gonna move them a tiny bit lower. So right now it's gonna cut from here and here. And if I want to make this duplicated, and now I want to turn it like so, there we go. And let's break this apart a bit. So if I'm gonna duplicate this one more time, put it somewhere in the center and I don't know, make it a tiny bit smaller. Like so. Now I'm gonna select everything except the background. I'm gonna combine them. And now they're only one shape, one path. Now I'm gonna take this one, I'm gonna put it on top. It's nothing underneath. I'm gonna select this, and now I'm gonna just go to path, in case you don't know, and make an intersection. And now I only have this. So I can select this. Right now it's not a pattern, but in order to make it a pattern, you have to go to Object, Pattern, Object to Pattern. Ta-da! And since we're already working in Spooky, if I'm gonna go to the document resources, you see I have both of them here. Now, weirdly enough, I can change the color on this. Now, whatever change I make here, let's say I'm making it this red, I'm gonna save it. If I wonder, no, I don't know why I can't change the color to the other one, but anyway. So I saved it here, okay? Perfect. Perfect. So now we have it in Spooky. Now if we go into our all patterns here, we see we have Spooky over here. And for some reason, well, I don't know. Let's see. File, new, and let's make a shape like so, a very generous one. I'm gonna go to patterns Let's go to spooky. Huh. Interesting. Hmm. Technically, it should have saved there. Let me try something. So I have it here. If I remove you, clear everything else, save. Oh, one more important thing. Here it's called pattern 21. Let's rename it. Let's call it spooky. But put maybe this is the reason. You have to put something in for spooky bombs. Wait, maybe that was the problem. Yeah, have to rename it. And let's call it, so we have to add a hashtag, spooky bombs. Now we save. And now let's look into spooky. Yep, there it is. And if you go into spooky, it's not there. What the heck? I don't know. I really don't know. It didn't save. What the heck? Okay. Hmm. Yeah. Super, super mega weird. Okay, so spooky bombs is saved. Let's try a new one. File, new. Hmm. Probably I have to make a new save or something. Yeah, it's kind of finicky. And I'm not entirely sure why sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But let me try to close the other one. And this one as well. Maybe something's wrong with. Yeah, there are a few bugs here and there. Nothing can be done about it, but what can you do? Now it's there. So yeah, if we go into spooky, we have both of them. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. It works kind of crazy. Now the cool thing is that we can also change the color. We can continue changing the color to whatever we wish. We can, I think we can give it a gradient somewhere. But I'm not sure. Although, if you like something, you can also take object and transform it from pattern to object to save it like this. You won't lose the pattern. You can also play with this. I wonder, let me see. Let me get a gradient, see what happens. No, no, it replaces it. So if you're gonna save, make sure that in patterns when you're saving, you're not saving with any additional stuff. Otherwise, these are gonna become duplicates. I know it's complicated to make patterns the way that they're in this state right now, and there's a lot of steps involved. But having your own custom patterns are quite amazing. You can make textures even if you really wish. Lots of things. You can even save as images as textures. Many cool things that I didn't think they were possible. Um, I wanted to. Yeah, there is one more cool thing. Right now with nodes, we can edit the texture directly here. I mean, you can also click this edit on canvas and get the same result. So you can make it bigger or smaller, rotate it, which is really cool, or elongate it any way you wish. This is also super awesome. I really like it. I don't know. I think it looks really nice. And the fact that you can, for example, duplicate this and put it next to it. It's not gonna be fixed this way, but let's try it again. Not stroke, this one. So now if I duplicate it, bam. Not perfect, but if you create you have to make it a specific size. Yeah, also working with this is kind of a pain. But doable. Ah, anyway, yeah, you have to play with specific sizes to match them. But obviously, that's not the point of textures. Like you want to take a texture and make it over a surface, not to duplicate the surface and have it exactly copy pasted. Although it should have worked. Kind of weird. Maybe the angles need a bit more work. Anyway, hope it was very useful for you guys and that it helped you to learn something new. Now it works somewhat better. Still a bit off, but still there. Anyway, really cool playing with this. It will improve your work styles. The point is that I really like how all of these extra features that are in Inkscape, they're starting to model it into tighter places and making them far more easier to work with. And I believe Inkscape right now is on par with all the other vector softwares at this stage, especially with this new tool. It's a game changer, and they optimized a lot of things. I noticed that clipping doesn't happen so often when you're moving. Uh, yeah, a lot of good optimizations in this last update, and they're still going to make some fixes that is gonna improve it even stronger and better and faster and more fantastic. I don't know. Okay, guys. Yeah, there is one more thing that I really liked, and this feature was needed like crazy hard. Like if I'm gonna make a shape, yeah, it's a vector, it's a path. I have this thing, and ta-da, ta-da! We don't have to work with objects anymore to do various things, or with path effects. I mean, it still uses a path effect. Don't get me wrong, but it's just amazing, amazing. And you can modify this at the same time. Oh, it's just honey on my heart. I don't know how to explain it otherwise. Okay, guys. You stay awesome. I'll catch you in the next episode. See ya. Bye 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 bye.